The phone trembled in my hand, its cold plastic pressing against my ear as Lena's whisper sliced through the line. "Ms. Evelyn, is there anyone else in the house?" Her voice was a fragile thread, taut with fear. I froze, my coffee cooling on the table at the Magnolia Tree Cafe, where the scent of jasmine mingled with the hum of Savannah's morning. "No, Lena," I said, forcing calm. "I'm out. Leonard's at a meeting and the kids are grown and gone." "Why?" Silence stretched, broken only by her ragged breathing. Then, in a voice barely audible, she said, "There's a woman upstairs. I saw her. Long white dress, messy hair, walking down the hall." My heart stopped. The cafe's chatter faded, and a chill crept up my spine. "Lena, get out now. Lock the door and wait outside. I'm coming." I hung up, called the police, and sped toward my 70-year-old Victorian home, its secrets waiting to unravel like a storm breaking over the Georgia coast. I'm Evelyn Marie Carter, 66, a retired teacher who spent decades shaping young minds in Savannah's public schools. My husband, Leonard, a celebrated novelist, built his career on haunting stories of loss and redemption, stories I once thought sprang from his soul. Our home, a creaking relic on a cobblestone street, held memories of raising our 2 children, now scattered to distant cities. That morning, October 22nd, 2025, I'd planned to clean the house myself, scrubbing away the humidity's weight before the coastal rains returned. But a call from Miriam, my childhood friend, changed everything. She was passing through Savannah for one day, her voice warm with nostalgia as she invited me for coffee. I couldn't resist. Miriam and I had run through marshes as girls, dreaming under live oaks, but the house needed tending, so I called Lena Parrish, a quiet 20-something from the alley nearby, scraping by for college funds. She was grateful, her voice bright as she agreed to clean. "Be careful with Leonard's study," I told her, picturing his dusty shelves of manuscripts. "Lock up when you're done." At the cafe under a sprawling oak, Miriam and I laughed over old memories, our teenage summers, her city life, my quiet days. Leonard's success, I boasted, had given us stability, though his late nights in the study left me lonelier than I admitted. Mid-sentence, my phone buzzed. Lena's number. I expected her to say she'd finished early, but her whisper shattered that. A woman upstairs. My mind raced. Burglar, squatter, mistake. Our home was old, its locks secure, but Savannah's history whispered of hidden passages. I apologized to Miriam, her worried eyes following me as I rushed to my car. The police line crackled as I explained, "Intruder, my cleaner in danger." Lena didn't answer my follow-up calls, each ring tightening the knot in my chest. I floored the accelerator, Savannah's oak-lined streets blurring past. When I reached our house, a police cruiser sat out front, its lights silent. Lena hunched on the steps, pale, eyes wide with terror. I hugged her, her trembling frame small against mine. "Are you okay?" I asked. She nodded, lips tight, unable to speak. 2 officers emerged, a stern older man and a younger woman with kind eyes. "No one's inside, Ms. Carter," the older one said. "We checked every room, closet, even the attic. No signs of entry, no scratches, no broken locks." Relief washed over me, but Lena's fear lingered. "I saw her," she whispered, like a shadow in a white dress, disappearing into the last room. I squeezed her shoulder, but doubt crept in. Our house, with its creaking floors and dark corners, had always felt alive, as if it held secrets I'd ignored. Leonard's sedan rolled up the driveway, his face puzzled at the police car. I recounted Lena's call, expecting concern, but he smiled faintly, almost dismissive. "You were tired, Lena," he said, patting her arm. "Old houses play tricks, sunlight shadows." His tone was soft, but it chilled me. Lena lowered her gaze, silent. I apologized to the officers, embarrassment burning my cheeks, and paid Lena, urging her to rest. As they left, Leonard's calm unnerved me. Lena wasn't fanciful. She was diligent, honest. Why was he so quick to brush it off? 3 months later, retirement settled over me like a heavy fog. No more early mornings or lesson plans, just the house and its endless quiet. Leonard spent hours in his study, his novels under pressure from his editor, Mr. Harold Vance. At night, I lay awake, the clocks ticking, amplifying the silence. Then came the sounds, soft thumps from the attic, like a book falling, or slow footsteps pacing above. I told myself it was the wind, the house's age, but the noises grew distinct, a chair scraping, paper rustling, as if someone were working up there. Over breakfast, I told Leonard, my voice steady despite my unease. I hear noises in the attic, not wind, not rats. He barely looked up from his paper. Old houses, Evelyn. Probably mice. I'll set traps. He did, placing rusty metal traps at the attic's ladder. The noises stopped, and I exhaled, convincing myself he was right. But then stranger things happened. I bought a spicy chorizo from the market, a treat Leonard avoided, his palate sensitive to heat. I wrapped it tightly, storing it in the fridge. The next morning a chunk was gone, the cut jagged as if sliced in haste. "Did you eat the chorizo?" I asked Leonard. He frowned, distracted. "Tried it last night. It was good." I froze. Leonard never touched spicy food. Days later the chorizo vanished entirely, no trace in the trash. I said nothing, a cold unease settling in my bones. One Saturday, we visited friends in Charleston, returning late. Exhausted, I headed to the second-floor bathroom. The floor was soaked, water dripping from the shower walls, as if someone had just bathed. "Leonard," I called, trembling, "the bathroom's wet." He shrugged. "Rain through the vent, probably." I checked outside. Dry streets, no rain. "It's a leak," he said, annoyed. "I'll call a plumber." He didn't. The floor dried, the pipes showed no leaks, and his dismissal gnawed at me. The attic noises, the missing food, the water, fragments of a puzzle I couldn't ignore. I decided to clean Leonard's study, a cluttered shrine to his novels. Dust-covered shelves held manuscripts, his desk buried in chaotic papers. As I lifted a stack, they spilled, and a stuck drawer popped open. Inside, under yellowed drafts, was a worn leather notebook, its pages filled with elegant feminine handwriting, story outlines, character sketches, plots mirroring Leonard's novels. My heart pounded. Leonard typed everything. He loathed handwriting. Whose was this? A collaborator? A secret? I hid the notebook back, fear and curiosity warring within me. That night I woke to a creak in the hallway. The clock read 2 a.m. I crept out, spotting the attic door ajar, a damp draft carrying the scent of old paper. I shook Leonard awake. "The attic door's open," he groaned, trudging to check. The door was closed, latched tight. "You're stressed, Evelyn," he said, exasperated. "You're seeing things." I lay awake, doubting myself, but the notebook's existence burned in my mind. Leonard's new habit deepened my suspicions. Nightly, he'd retreat to his study, claiming manuscript deadlines. One night, waking thirsty at 1 a.m., I found his side of the bed cold. The study was empty, his computer off. Calling his name, I wandered the dark house. Passing the staircase, I saw him descending barefoot, holding a clean porcelain plate. He froze, the plate slipping, shattering on the floor. "What were you doing upstairs?" I asked, trembling. "Working," he stammered. "Got hungry, grabbed a snack." The plate was spotless, no crumbs. His eyes avoided mine, and I felt a chasm grow between us. The next morning, Leonard announced a sudden trip to Atlanta for inspiration. Before leaving, he gripped my shoulders. "Don't let anyone in, Evelyn, especially not from the publishing house. If Vance comes, say I'm gone, no return date." His urgency unsettled me. Hours later, Mr. Harold Vance arrived, impatient. "I know Leonard's here," he snapped. "The manuscript's late." I repeated Leonard's words, but Vance scoffed, pointing across the street. "Mr. Ellis sees your attic light on nightly. If Leonard's working, where's the manuscript?" My blood ran cold. Attic light. We never used it. Alone, I dragged a ladder to the attic hatch, its rusty latch resisting. The air was heavy, smelling of decay. My flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing boxes, dusty furniture, and a small, organised corner. A table, a flickering oil lamp, and a woman in a tattered white dress, her back to me, writing. Her hair was long, white, tangled. "Who's there?" I stammered. She turned, her gaunt face illuminated. Clara, my sister, missing for 30 years. My legs buckled. Around her were manuscripts, empty cans, a thin mattress. "Evelyn," she whispered, tears falling. "I never thought I'd see you." I helped Clara downstairs, her frail frame trembling. In the living room under soft light, she sipped water, her hands shaking. She told a story that shattered me. 30 years ago, her editor, Victor Grayson, lured her to his apartment, drunk and predatory. In self-defense, she struck him with a statue, killing him accidentally. Leonard, arriving by chance, stopped her from calling the police. "You'll lose everything," he said. "I'll protect you for Evelyn." He buried Victor's body in the low country woods and hid Clara in our attic, promising it was temporary. It became 30 years. Leonard used Clara's fear, claiming exposure would ruin me. He fed her, kept her hidden, and stole her manuscripts, publishing them as his own. Clara wrote to survive, her stories of lost souls reflecting her imprisonment. Leonard's career, our wealth, was built on her pain. I sobbed, rage and guilt consuming me. "I didn't know," I whispered. Clara took my hand. "I stayed to protect you." She wanted to turn herself in, to face justice. I drove her to the police, her eyes wide at Savannah's changes. At the station, her confession stunned them. They found Victor's remains, arrested Leonard upon his return. Clara's lawyer argued self-defense, citing her 30-year captivity. But days later, Clara took her life in detention, leaving a letter. "I'm free now, Evelyn. My final story's in the attic, under my name, Clara Marie Carter." I found her manuscript, an autobiography of her life, her dreams, her pain. I edited it, tears blurring the pages, and published it as Clara's Light. It became a phenomenon, her voice finally heard. Leonard's trial exposed his crimes. He confessed, sentenced to life. I turned the attic into a library, Clara's books on its shelves, sunlight streaming in. Her truth, her courage, set her free. I learned that silence imprisons, but truth liberates, no matter the cost. If you're reading this, reflect. How many hide in silence? Speak your truth even if it trembles. Clara's story is my candle, lighting the way. Where are you reading from? Share below. Let's see how far her light travels.